Tastes good. Hi, knitters and knitwits. Thanks for coming back to PJ Knits and another edition. Today is Friday, September 7th, and in central Illinois, it's raining. And the forecast is a lot of rain all weekend long. We need the rain. I'm not sad about that. I am sad, though, in where I live in Pekin, Illinois. Tonight kicks off the Marigold Festival, and a lot of the activities for Marigold Festival are outside. And so I'm sad about that. It's really kicks off majorly. There are some things downtown tonight, but tomorrow there's a parade that goes through town. And then we have art in the park all weekend long, which is all outside in the park, in the grass. And I would say hundreds of booths are there, of makers selling their wares. And so I'm really kind of sad for them that it is so rainy and going to be mostly rainy all weekend, because trudging around in the grass and manning a booth when it's wet is just, I can't imagine that it's a whole lot of fun for your weekend. So I'm hopeful that it'll dry off, but the weatherman doesn't give much hope. So, but anyway, I'm inside today and enjoying my day. I'm prepping and getting ready. Tomorrow we are going to celebrate my mother-in-law's 90th birthday with family, and my nieces and nephews are coming. My daughter-in-law and grandkids will be here later tonight, which I'm so looking forward to. And I just love waking up to young little kids in the morning. There's so much fun to have fun with first thing. So I'm looking forward to that and having breakfast with them and spending the day with them before they have to head back. And celebrating her 90th birthday. That's simply amazing. 90 years. I can only hope to make it that long and have all of my mental facilities and my body in good working order. She's doing pretty good at 90. Has some issues, but health-wise she's doing well, and I think it's just a blessing for anybody to make it that long and to been through what she's been through and seen what she's seen. It'd be interesting to just kind of chat with her tomorrow and kind of see, yeah, I'm interested in her views of things that have changed and things that she can remember. So anyway, that's how we're going to spend our weekend, and I hope that you are all going to have some great weekends and doing what you love as well. I have a lot of things I want to talk to you about today and show you and will be obvious by a few of the things that I'm going to talk about. Is I have no self-control right now. I have a lovely stash, as I have said before, but right now there are so many things that I want to do that don't involve stash, and so let's get into this. First up, at the end of August, the tall guy is what I call Bob on other venues. We celebrated 42 years of marriage, and we're kind of at this point for anniversaries where we don't buy each other anything. I get some really cool Christmas presents, and we don't really do birthday as well for each other, because we both have our own hobbies, and so we like to pick out certain things. I've often said to him, you can go to the yarn shop and buy a gift certificate anytime you want, but so far none of that has happened. But anyway, so we kind of give each other carte blanche to buy our own presents, and I did that this last couple of weeks. One of the things that I'm going to show you was what I'm going to call my anniversary present, but other things were not necessarily anniversary presents. But anyway, I've got projects lined up from now until Christmas. Truly do have to get moving on some projects for things besides myself, but also obvious of what I will show you what's on the needles. That's not happening right now, but back in my mind and on my little list, I know that I've got to get moving on some of these other things. But anyway, first off, I'm going to show you a yarn that I got that my friend Debbie picked up for me. She's sometime my personal shopper. And I was looking for a yarn for the new grandbaby that's coming in December that's a girl. The last two blankets that I made for my grandkids was out of Pacific yarn. And while I like Pacific yarn, when we were over a couple of months back in Iowa, and I saw my grandson's blanket. Through the many washings, I was not fond of the fact of the pilling that I saw going on in the blanket. And I realized baby blankets are well used, so that is part of the problems, and well washed as they should. But I remember Debbie talking to me about an anti-pill yarn. And I remember making a scarf out of this same brand of yarn now, but I just had kind of forgot that that's what it was. But anyway, Debbie was over, and I told her I was going to go online and buy some of this yarn. It's called Universal Yarn. It's by Universal Yarns. It's called Uptown Worsted. And I was going to go online and buy some for the new baby blanket because it is anti-pilling, anti-pilling, and a worsted weight, and seems to be very soft. And while she was over in Indiana, one of the stores had some yarn, had some Universal yarns, Uptown Worsted. Only this was in the mist colorway. And the mist has a little bit of variations to it of light pinks and dark pinks. So several, it's not really variegated, but it has a heathering to it, kind of, sort of. And so I had her go ahead and pick this up for me. When I saw it in person and I went out to Ravelry, as I do, to look at some of the patterns that people have done in a baby blankets, it was noticeable of the gradations, where the dark and the light. And for the blankets, the first blanket that I'm going to do for the baby has blocks and has some patterning to it. I did not think that after I saw this that it was going to work for that. But I'm going to keep the yarn, and I'm going to make a second baby Afghan. And I like to make a second baby Afghan for my grandchildren because they go to daycare. And so this will be the blanket that they can take to daycare. Schlep it around, throw it, around. It'll be a fairly simple pattern, and this will be a workhorse, and then they can wash it multiple times if they need to. So this is going to be actually the second baby blanket for the grandbaby. And then in the meantime, I went out because this is the pattern that I want to do a variation of for the baby. The first one I did for my first granddaughter was all hearts, and it was in a pink Pacific. And then the second one was all bears and in blue for the baby, for the son. And so this one I wanted to keep with that same theme. And so I'm going to do this, only I'm going to extend it one more. Actually, I might even do two more, and maybe do like a row of hearts, a row of ribbons. And this is supposed to be a flower, and I think I'm going to leave the flower out and do, I'm sorry, I guess it's a butterfly. It's not ribbons after all, but I could make that into a ribbon, couldn't I? And leave off the little feelers on the top. So that might be an idea, because I just don't want that to be misconstrued as a snowflake, is what I was thinking originally. So this is the blanket that I'm going to do. It is called Sweet Blanket. It's by Filomena Lanzara. I think, and I cannot remember, I'll put in the show notes in the Ravelry group, but I think it was a free pattern, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So anyway, that's going to be the baby blanket, and the baby's due December 3rd, so I got to get cracking on that. In a couple of weeks, I'll cast on and get started on that, or maybe in a week or so, just to do that. And what I did is I bought this from Webb's. I got this, it's Uptown Worsted again, from Universal Yarn, and it is, it's color 310, and it's baby pink. And so I got sufficient in that. And so this is all just a solid pink, and will be perfect, and you'll be able to see each of those blocks quite well. So I will get started on this fairly soon, because I'd like to have it done before Thanksgiving, because sometimes babies don't come when they're supposed to. So that is a couple of things that are that were on my thought process about getting yarns. And I had said before, I was only going to buy yarns only going to buy yarns if I didn't have specifically in my stash what I needed. Neither one of those were in my stash, and I really needed pink because I had no pink yarn in my stash. But next up, the gals from Espace Tricot Melissa came out with a new pattern called Turtle Dove. And the minute I saw that, I knew that I wanted to do that particular pattern, and I wanted to do it for me. Now, I will say this, what I love, this is a free pattern. The patterns that they design, the owners of Espace Tricot, all of their patterns that they design are free patterns, which I love. Kudos to them. I'm going to say that this is not specifically a style that you would probably associate with me, but I'm dying to try it. And because this particular sweater was done out of Woolfolk Luft, and I have used Woolfolk Luft before in just a cowl that was also from Espace Tricot. I wanted to use it again, try it again for a sweater for me. So I ordered Woolfolk Luft, which is the yarn that the pattern is done out of. It's an L9 colorway, and this is a departure for me totally. As you will see, this is a brown. But I wanted to do the sweater in the yarn that it was created for, and I wanted to go a little bit different. And I think this will be a great colorway. Despite that it's brown, it's not my normal blue, but sometimes you just have to go out of that comfort zone and do something different. And I'm hoping that this is going to be one that I just throw on. There's a couple of different hem treatments on there, and I'm going to do the split hem on the pattern. So I'll show you on the needles later because I couldn't resist. As soon as I got it, I had to ball it up and start it. But I'll show you later with that, in my works in progress, what I've done so far on that. And so then next up, what I bought is, I have been wanting to do this as a transitional sweater. I have talked about this one before. This is from Andrea Mowry, and this is the Weekender sweater I wanted. This has been in my queue. I wanted to do this as well for some time, and this is what I'm calling my anniversary present, as it would be, to myself from the tall guy. This is the Weekender, and so what I did is I went online and I ordered the yarn and I called it my anniversary. I asked for them to put it in a gift bag because it was my anniversary present, and I ordered from Church Mouse Yarns and Trees out in Washington. Came in a cute little bag, and it had a really neat little postcard note in it and said something to the effect, whoever's getting this must be loved. Well, it must be loved. And I'm like, yeah, I am loved. And so thank you, Bob, for my anniversary present, because I wanted to use the yarn that Andrea Mowry had created the pattern for. And I've been wanting to try Brooklyn Tweed's Shelter yarn for quite some time. And there were some interesting reviews back and forth on it. And really, I never really had a particular pattern that I wanted to actually just go out and knit it out of. And when I saw that she had created the Weekender out of this, I thought this was a perfect time to buy this yarn from Church Mouse. This colorway is in the tartan colorway, and it is a American Targhee Columbia wool, which all of Brooklyn Tweed's yarns are made in America. This is spun in Harrisville, New Hampshire, and sourced in Johnson County, Wyoming, and then dyed in Philadelphia. And this is the tartan colorway. And as you can see, I am back to my normal plan for colors that I love. It's reading a little blue on the screen. It has more hints of a green to it. I have not cast on this one. I am waiting to cast on this one because I have a couple of other things that haven't cast on, and I'm not going to let myself do it until I get at least one of them finished. So that's going to be needle adjacent down the road, but I cannot, I say again, I cannot cast it on until I get a couple of other things done. So again, happy anniversary to me, and thanks, Bob. I appreciate you let me buy my own this time. So anyway, church mouse, and when I ordered this yarn, there's an option, and I said, please wind them. And so all of the yarns are wound for me. I don't have to wind them later. I like that service, and it was no charge, of course. And I really, I appreciate that kind of service. I can wind my own yarns, but in this particular instance, I thought, no, I'm ready for them. When I'm ready, I will be ready. So, what's on the noodles? What's on the needles? I'm not going to show you Uzo because I haven't really gotten any further on that particular one. I will show you my turtle dove that I talked about that I got, that's from Espace Tricot. I just cast on a little bit on it last long weekend because I was dying to get a feel for it. It's top down, and the pattern has a super long turtleneck on it, and I decided to do a mock one because I really didn't want, I don't want to have to fold it down, and I don't want it way up here. So anyway, I've started it, and it's just around and around for quite some time. I'm totally loving that, but again, I'm not really letting myself work too much on this one yet either because I have something else on the needles that I really want to get finished first. So anyway, this is Turtle Dove, and this is just going to be scrumptious to wear. I'm just super excited about the feel of this. And I'm going to, I've got my little progress keeper here that I got when I was at ZK that somebody gave me. It looks like a little cracker. Has ZK on it, 2018. Put it around there. You can see, looks like a little Ritz cracker to me. It's my progress keeper. I'm going to move it down here so that next time we meet, I can show you what kind of progress I've made on it. But I'm not planning on making a whole lot of progress on that in the meantime because, like I said, I have something else that's on the needles that's really, really calling me and something that I really want to do. I want to focus in on my knitting as it would be. And what I am focusing in right now is what we're doing at KAL. A Cal in the PJ Knits Ravelry group, and we've got just a few people who are doing it, but I'm appreciative of those who are joining me in this venture of knitting Veronica. We cast it on Labor Day weekend, which was Saturday. We started a week ago, almost a week ago, September 1st. That was the cast on day, and got a couple people who have already knit it and kind of spurred me on to wanting to knit on it, and then is knitting along as well. And then this morning saw on our group that also Annette is going to cast on as well, has this scrumptious fall yarn. And I hope, Nettie, you will go out to the Ravelry group, to PJ Knits under the Veronica group, and post a picture of those yarns, because I would love for other people to see the yarn that you are using. I mean, that's, it's not my color, but it looks scrumptious, and I can't wait to see how your yarn goes into Veronica. This one is a very Shannon pattern, and I'm loving this. This is an I'm going to love the project, the end product. And here's where I'm at right now. And again, I'm loving the yarn that I chose for this as well. This was from Yarns on the House. And the colorway is Concord Grape. It is a scrumptious yarn. What I'm not loving, and I had heard before, is I'm to the back right now, and there's where we're at, and it's a lot of knitting for a while. So I think there's like 36 repeats for the size 1 that have to go. So I have put my marker, my progress keeper, in it right here, And it's not to measure progress of how far I get between now and the next podcast, but rather this is the starting point that after that I have to count a certain number of these ridges before this little baby back is done. So this is a great knit for watching TV and for Netflix and for in public, easily knit. And there's a little bit of gradation changes in the yarn. As you can see, I am not alternating skeins on this. It is going to go as it is. And Alicia, if you're watching this, I watched your YouTube today. I hate, and I would agree, it is a hassle to have to change yarns on kettle dyes or dyed yarns every other row. I dislike it intensely, and I'm not doing it on this one. And I am going to go with how it is on this particular one. So just a shout out to Alicia. I'm with you, girl. And I'm not changing right now. There are some things, there's a sweater that I did out of some Madeline Tosh that I'm working on for winter. And I had to go back and do it because it was so freaking obvious that it just wasn't going to work if I didn't. So, yeah, what a hassle, but I understand why you need to do it, but I'm not doing it on this one. So this is my main concentration right now. I really want to get this done and off the needles because it's part of the Cal in PJ Knits. And so I really just want to, I just want to knit on it until it's done and then concentrate on some other things down the road. So that's why I'm not casting on any other new ones, but I've got that one in the pipeline. So anyway, those are the things that I am currently knitting on. And now I have some finished objects for you. And I'm so glad that I got a chance to podcast today because next week I'm going to give this first one away. This is from, I talked about it maybe a couple of episodes ago. This is from the DMC Hug This kit. It comes in a kit and you get the yarn to make one of their Afghans and they include the patterns. And if you go out to DMC Hug This, the patterns are free and you can choose your pattern that you want to do for they give you one big skein of yarn. I decided that I did not want to take the time for this particular blanket to do anything too involved. So I decided to do my variation of the grandmother's dishcloth. And so I have finished the blanket out of the yarn. This is not, I could have went a little bit larger on this, but because I still had quite a bit of yarn left when I was done. But frankly, when I got to the halfway point of what I thought was going to be the halfway point, I was like, I'm done. I'm ready to put this away. And even in the pattern that they provide with the kit, they call it a carriage blanket. And so basically, what I'm going to tell my hair gal that this is really, I think it'd be great to throw in over the car seat if you need to go from the car to the house or vice versa, or just snug around them, or down the road. It'd be a great, it's a good size as they start toddling around for them to just carry, as a snuggie as well. So anyway, that is going to go to her. And the cute part about this is you're going to fold this all up, and part of the kit came this little bear. Isn't it cute? And it's called Hug This because it has Velcro on it. And they had lots of different ones. I didn't buy the ones they had. Like, I think there was a monkey, and I think there's a bear. There's like 3 or 4, and like a blue, a pink, a peach, and maybe a green. And I got this at my local yarn shop, the Fiber Universe. She got these in, and the cool thing is, I'm going to put this. What you do is you just shove this little baby, this little blanket, up in here, and there you go. The Hug This. That's going to be the gift. Put it in a bag, and I think she'll appreciate it. I made her a pea pod for her first baby a few years back, along with a blanket, and she showed me pictures of that, and she was very appreciative. So this is the DMC Hug This, and that's a finished object, and that's going out to the mother-to-be next week when I see her. And also in finally finished, I have I have a sock that is finished. And I'm going to tell you the story about this sock. It has a mate, and there are a couple of stories about it. It has a mate. And as you can tell, the mate is a little bit different red. So, this is the story. The pattern is Smooth Operator Socks by Susan B. Anderson. Now, as socks are concerned, all of the socks that I have done, except for, I've done a couple of Susan's now, all of the socks that I do are top down. They are ribbed for 5 inches maybe, and they have a heel flap and gusset. I like that pattern. I've made a lot of them. When my friend Norma was alive, she received from me a pair of birthday socks and a pair of Hanukkah socks every year. And I use that pattern for her. She liked that. I have made a couple of pairs since then for myself. And then I've made 2, or maybe this is the 3rd set. I think this is maybe the 3rd set of Susan's sock. I still prefer, and I'm going back to my my original ribbed sock with the heel flap and gusset. I still like that. It's still my favorite. It fits me the best, and I think I've got the best dew on it. So anyway, that said, nothing against this one. I enjoyed trying this is an afterthought heel. I enjoyed the ones that I have done in that, but I still like my other one better. And so whichever you prefer, it's to each your own, which is fine. And I'm not saying I don't love this one. It's just that I made a few, and I like the other one better. But anyway, so in 2016, in November 2016, I had foot surgery, middle of the month, and I was off my foot for a long time. I didn't go back to work until February. It was longer than expected, and I was to the point where during that time I couldn't go anywhere. Basically, I didn't go anywhere. I went to the doctor because I was on not really crutches, but I was doing a walker, the hop thing with the walker, and in a wheelchair around home. So anyway, enough of that. But anyway, that season I wasn't going anywhere, didn't do any holiday parties or anything like that. But then I got I saw an email from Knit Circus Yarns, and they had a yarn that they had packaged up in 2 separate balls, and so I ordered that, and this was the first one that I got. And then, so what I did is I cast on just a couple of days before Christmas, because I was in a boot and could not put a sock over my foot. I decided to make myself one Christmas sock to wear that Christmas. And this is what I made. And I was amazed that I started this like on the 22nd at night. And by Christmas morning, I had it done. And so I was able at that point in time with my boot to be able to go out. So I put this sock on my foot that didn't have surgery and couldn't put anything on my other one. So this was the first one. Then I had planned on making a second one, but what I realized when I ordered that yarn from Knit Circus, that I had not bought the huge balls that I thought I had, but smaller balls. And so I had to order 2 more balls, which was this one. Well, I put them away, and then I cast on, maybe in the following year, I cast on the sock again. I had not gotten very far on it and just put it away. I wasn't in a sock knitting mood. I had other things to knit on. And so finally, last week, I got it out. I was in one of those things where it's like fish or cut bait, and I decided I'm going to pull that out and I am going to finish it. And so I did. And so I finished this last week. And so now this Christmas, I have a second sock to go with my original sock. Nobody's going to notice the difference in the reds. So I have now 2 Christmas socks. So I'm pleased about that, having that done as well. So that's all set. That is my finished. That's my finished objects. I just want to talk a little bit about knitting at home. I knit all the time. And when I knit at home, I like to have my TV on. And in the next coming episodes of PJ Knits, I'm going to talk about some of the podcasts that I watch. But I always have to have something on. And so I just want to talk a little bit about what I've been watching on TV. And lately it seems that Netflix has been my go-to. And I'm sure that there are others out there who have seen this. But I highly recommend, if you have Netflix, that you check out the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Society. I watched that a week ago on Netflix. I loved it, and I will watch it again. There is a book out, I understand, and I think I'm going to order the book so that I can read it as well. But it was I want to say that it's a Hallmark kind of movie, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I heartily recommend that you go out and check it out. It is set on the island of Guernsey, which has knitting written all over it. Which is in the English Channel, and it was about it's modern day and segues back to the German occupation in World War II, which just amazes me that I don't know enough about that time in history. That there's an island out in the English Channel that the Germans occupied. I'm flabbergasted by that, and I'm flabbergasted that I didn't know that. And I'm sure there's a lot more of that that we don't know. So I'm kind of interested in delving into that history piece of it as well a little bit. Another thing that I watched on Netflix that I recommend, and I saw this, I was watching a Christy Glass Knits YouTube video, and she was at Stephen B's last summer. And he was talking about something that they're going to do at Stephen B Studios this fall, one Friday a month, having to do with bringing knitting and fashion together. And he talked about The Devil Wore Prada, which I watched that one as well some time ago. But he talked about a documentary that is on Netflix called The Summer Issue. And I thought, I'd check that out. And I did that last Saturday night and watched it, and it was very interesting. It is a documentary about the editor of Vogue magazine, not the knitting one, but Vogue magazine, Anna Wintour, and it was actually done in 2009. But I found it very, very interesting to see her in her element, to hear people that work with her. And kind of sort of what goes on behind the scenes to put an issue together of Vogue magazine. And it was just very interesting. And where it is not knitting related, I found it very interesting to watch. And now I see the parallelism between it and The Devil Wore Prada, which I did not realize at the time, that probably the movie was a little bit of a takeoff of this Anna Wintour, if I understand it correctly. And so anyway, it was just a very interesting documentary. If you're into fashion or want to know a little bit more about fashion magazine and how it's put together, and that very strong, I want to say she's a very strong woman and knows her mind and knows the things that that she wants in her magazine. So I recommend it, watching that on Netflix. And then next up, I was like overcome. I was just so super excited when I saw one last weekend, later in the weekend, that a new episode, a new series of the Great British Baking Show was on Netflix. And this is from 2017. Paul Hollywood's still on it, but they have a new judge with him, Prue, which I did not know who she was. And then the two comedian hosts, I did not know who they were as well. But I can tell you, I binge watched that until Tuesday, Wednesday this week, and I've finished it all. I recommend you watch it too. I love that show. Now, I don't bake, and I'm not going to bake. I am baking a peach pie for the party tomorrow, and I believe Mrs. Smith is the one who made it, and I'm just baking it. So that's the extent of my baking. I do make some mean peanut butter fudge, but that's not baking. But I don't bake, but I loved this show. I loved watching it, and I'm so happy that they're back, even with new hosts. It was fun, and I was pleased to see it. So anyway, that's what I've been watching while I knit, is a lot of Netflix. So next we're going to do books and bags. I have a new book, but I cannot tell you anything. I can't rave or non-rave about it. I just got it in the mail. It is Handy Woman by Kate Davies. And I'm looking forward to reading this book. She is a knitter, designer, and I love her patterns. I love the photos that she does as well of her pictures when she does it. And I'm looking forward to having this as a good read. This is a reading book. It is not a pattern book. And I'm just going to read a little bit of the back for it. It is paralyzed by a stroke at the age of 36, Kate Davies' world turned upside down. Forced to change direction, Kate took a radical new creative path. Handy Woman tells this story. Handy Woman is not a book about Kate's triumph over adversity. Rather, it is her account of the ordinary activities and everyday objects that stroke and disability made her see differently. From braiding her hair for the first time to learning how to knit again. From the lessons of a working-class creative childhood to the support of the contemporary knitting community. From the transformative effects of good design to developing a new identity as a disabled walker. In this enraging series of essays, Kate describes how the experience of brain injury allowed her to build a new kind of handmade life. Part memoir, part personal celebration of the power of making. In Handy Woman, Kate redefines disability as in itself a form of practical creativity. I am so looking forward to reading this book. As someone who has seen two people in her life, myself, which would be my mother and both my husband, haven't seen the effects of a stroke on them, and one's come back and one's non-come back. I'm very interested in this read, and I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, that's what I have to say about books. That's the latest of the book that came, and I'm looking forward to reading that one. In bags, I have a bag that I just received. This one is from Molly Klein Design, and it's in keeping with my pattern of Snoopy and Peanuts. And what I am going to use this one for is not a project bag, but next to my chair that I sit in, I have a bag, and I'm going to start switching them up with the seasons because I have so many cute bags. And inside, I put my multiple TV changers, I put my Kleenex, I put tape measure, I put nail files, lip balm, just things that I might want to need. And then if somebody's coming over, like when the kids are coming over, I zip it up and just put it away, so I don't have to worry about the kids getting into it. So I'm going to use my little bags like this, not necessarily for projects this year, but for that kind of keeping of my stuff and giving with the holidays. So right now I have my stuff in a Molly Klein Design fall one. And after fall, after the 1st of October, then when I convert my decorating to pumpkins and Halloween, then I'm going to pull that out and I will use that. So that is what I have for books and bags this week. I have a few other things that I just want to talk about. I had a plan that this was going to be short, but we're really going long, and I'm going to try and bump it up. I'm going to try and do another podcast next week because I have so many things that I want to talk to you about and show you that's going on. One of the finds that I want to just share with you today is last night we were at Walmart, and I do a lot of cards for kids and for friends and things like that. And so, not that I'm a cheapskate, but lately, have you seen what a Hallmark card costs? It's a lot of money. So as we were coming down on one of the aisles, we saw these boxes of assorted birthday cards. And I thought, I said to Bob, I think I'm going to get some of those because they'd be perfect to pull out when you need a card for kids or what have you as well. And so I looked down and here was this box of 4 cards. And you know what caught my eye from a knitter? And I don't know if it's a llama or an alpaca because llamas are hot. But there you go. So I had to buy the box. So that's at my local Walmart. And I think they were like $2.98 for 12 or $3.98. Anyway, that's what I've got there. And so I got some cards, things. And then I'm just going to share just a few little gadgets with you today because we're running long on time. But anyway, I think I talked about this just a little bit back in the time we had before. But I've been buying for gifts for friends and they really seem to like these. This is from I Love Handles. It is a wrist ruler. And I'm buying, they have all kinds of colors out for them right now. Gold and silver and pink and blue and red, but mine's a brown one. And so this is my gadget, and to show you, it's pretty true to size as well. It's got inches on it, and you just put it on your wrist and hook it in, and you've always got your little wrist ruler there. So when you need a ruler, you've got it. A lot of shops sell this, so you can find them anywhere, online, Stephen B. and other places. Another thing I want to show you that's always in my knitting bag that I love, that I got on Amazon, and it comes in a little pouch, a little vinyl pouch. That is when I'm traveling knitting, I always want to take this, and this is called Smart Way, and it's a little pocket scale. Comes in handy. It would have come in really a lot of real handy if I would have used it for my Hug This kit and weighed that yarn before and halfway, then I would have known. But anyway, I love this little gadget. Put it in my knitting bag so that you can use to weigh yarn when you're out and about. And I love that little scale. And then also in my one of the gadgets I want to call your attention to is called a needle keeper, the magic wand. And again, you can get these off of Etsy. I bought one that's not this one, but I bought one from Espace Tricot that has the rubber tip on both ends. And then you just take your, and this particular one, it has a slit. And you shoot both of your needles into there, and it traps them in the hole so that you can keep them from going anywhere. Let's see where the needles went into that. So that is the needle keeper, a gadget that I really like. And again, I bought mine from Espace Tricot that has the 2 tips on it. But this one, you can get these off of Amazon, and you can get them also, Etsy shops have these. It's called the Needle Keeper. Love that little gadget. And last but not least, this is from my quilting days. And It's called a magic marble. It's kaleidoscope. And I'm sorry that you can't see the thing so well. But anyway, it's a kaleidoscope. But what it is, it's clear on the outside, so that when you're looking at yarns or fabrics, what happens is, see the colors in that? And as you turn it, you can see the colors on it. Go down there. And it shoots to the colorways. You can see the colors. Pretty true up as to what they are. And used for fabrics in quilts. But I just find that it's so cool when I look, even at all the different, and it's kaleidoscopy, and to see the different things. A knitting gadget that could be used for yarns as well, to see the different colors on them as well, but also just a fun little gadget. And I think maybe the grandkids might have a hoot looking at that this weekend too. So anyway, this is called Magic Marble Kaleidoscope, and I've had it for some time, but again, a great little gadget. Well, I guess I'm really pushing the time limit here today. I had so many more things that I want to talk to you about, so many future plans for podcast next in the next few weeks that I want to talk to you about. A design that I'm working on, working back on again, that I started a couple of years ago, and recently decided that it was like one of those Fisher cut bait moments. And I'm like, just pull that apart and do that. You're not a designer. It is a shawl design. Rather, it's a wrap design that I started for hospice a couple of years ago, and we decided not to go with doing a book, but it is a pattern that I am doing for hospice. It will be when I finally get it all together down the road, and I don't know how long that'll be, but that it will be a free pattern, and it'll be my first foray into designing just simple wraps. I am not ever going to be a designer, because I truly appreciate those people who do design. My friend Amanda with from the Pearl Scout podcast, she's amazing, and check that out. So I want to talk about designers and people like that. I want to talk to you about that. There's Christmas projects that I want to talk to you about. Transitional sweaters, the sweater project. There's so many more things that I want to talk to you about here on the podcast. I am so looking forward to fall. And I appreciate so much all of you coming back, and for this long one today. Thanks for sticking with me. I am PJ Knits on Instagram. Join us in the PJ Knits group on Ravelry. Talk to us there. I am Penny J on Ravelry. Is my avatar there. Pamela too, if you contact me please on Ravelry, so I can get you your pattern, your free pattern for the sweater that you want. Contact me on PM me on Ravelry, so we can take care of that. And again, thank you so much wherever you're at. The rain's kind of stopped here, but it's awfully wet. I hope you're having a great weekend. And until we come back here next time, knit on with confidence and hope. And thanks again. See you later. Bye.